Fractal, meeting number 29. We're here. We've been here for the past 25 minutes, and we've been having some great conversations with Marco and Lenny and Eric and Jorge and Sebastian. And also welcome everybody for joining. Welcome everybody who's watching. Thanks for joining us. And we're going to break out into the breakout rooms in about 3 or 4 minutes. There are some new topics that we can discuss this week. So last week we passed the 3 proposals that the DOS proposed for optimizing the hour after the breakout rooms and for moderation guidelines, and also voted or elected me as a moderator too. So I'm going to be happy to moderate it to the best of my ability this week. And yeah, so Vlad made a proposal that we can discuss afterwards about the mission of Eden Fractal. I also just made 2 proposals about the Chief Delegates' recent proposal and also about curating more equal animals that we can discuss afterwards. Everybody can also submit votes on Consortium if you want to affect the order of priorities in the hour after the breakout rooms, and you can make proposals there as well with the new Vlalendas game. But anyway, with that being said, I'll leave it open now, and welcome once again, and it would be great to hear from everybody. Hope you're all doing well. How's everybody doing?
Hey, everyone.
Hey, Jesse.
Yeah. Hey guys. Good to be here. Yeah, in my breakout room, I just want to talk about some of the things I'm thinking about as a CD right now as the deadline approaches to make our decisions in terms of the proposed bylaw changes. And so, yeah, a little sneak peek. If you're in my room, I don't think I'll be able to attend after the breakout rooms, but I did want to come on here and to get some feedback and answer questions if anyone has during the breakout room.
Sounds great. Thank you very much, Jesse.
Thank you, Jesse.
I also just published the town hall that we had on this Sunday, 3 days ago, with Jesse sharing ideas about the recent proposals, as well as Chris. Jorge's got a giant avocado, looks like, again. So enjoyed that, Jorge. I'll post that in the chat, or I just posted in the Eden members chat, actually, and I posted in the Eden other chats. So I encourage everybody to check out that, in addition to learn more about Jesse's initiative, as well as lots of discussions about the new proposals. And yeah, thanks a lot, Jesse, for coming and sharing your proposals and new thoughts about it. Looking forward to hearing more. So yeah, Jesse gave a thumbs up, by the way, for anybody who's watching on Zoom who can't see that. And I think I heard somebody say something. Was somebody trying to say something there? Sorry if I interrupted you. Or if not, then yeah, I guess I'm still working on getting music set up. So hopefully we'll have music soon, and Vlad's joining as well. So go into the breakout rooms in a minute or 2, and then we will have some discussions about the proposal that Vlad made, which has the most votes on Consortium right now. Although I think that the proposal that the DOS created didn't specify a certain time that votes need to be submitted. So if anybody wants to discuss a different topic after the breakout rooms, then people can vote on Consortium or propose it still now or within the next hour, I believe.
Yeah, thanks for those, Dan.
Sure, links to what the I'll share a link to the proposal page where you can see Vlad's proposal T22, which is a little technical, but basically that's T22 will be changed, but that's basically this week. Vlad proposed what is the mission of Eden Fractal, and right now that has the most votes with 2,000 Eden voting on it. And then I also put two proposals just about a half hour ago about what do you think about the recent proposals from the Eden Chief Delegates, and what do you think of the idea to incentivize curation more equal animals. So you can find that the link there, and I also have the link to the town hall in my browser, so I'll share that too in case anyone wants to check out that later as well. So we are a minute overtime, and we have 11 people here. So I'll break it out into breakout rooms now with groups of 6. And I hope that everybody has an awesome time. Hello, everyone. Hope that everybody's
Hello.
doing well. Shall we jump right into sharing contributions, or does anybody have any thoughts or any other things to share before we go into contributions? And also, would anybody like to go first?
Did you say anyone or Lenny?
I said anyone, but
Okay, good.
if Lenny wants to go first, that would be cool.
No, it's all right. You know my spiel. It's always the same.
Okay, cool. Well, my spiel will be a little bit different today. Normally I have time, and going back to what we were discussing before, Lenny, about me kind of overworking and being scattered. I usually have a presentation prepared, but I only got the chance to open up like 5 tabs so far. So my spiel will be a lot shorter than normal. And I can go first if we want, but if somebody else can go first, that would be appreciated. Maybe if Vlad or Eric or Jorge or Marco.
All right, I'll go if I need to.
Thanks, Eric.
So everybody knows that my goal here is to actually implement this in a real world environment. So it's been a pretty good week for that. Last Saturday we had the Fallbrook Art Association Christmas party, and I made my final pitch for volunteers to join us in January before I go out with an email message to do our weekly. And I'm not calling it a fractal because that would freak people out. So it's a weekly volunteer forum, which I'll probably do on Saturdays, the same time I've been doing, the one we've been doing for planning how to do fractal. I'll probably just actually do the fractal. And also because I know Dan is available then, and Dan's agreed to help us on this. We had a planning meeting Monday. So I met with 2 associations actually running this thing. So I'll send this to you, Dan. I have an action plan that I wrote up for how to do it. The action plan doesn't go into details because I don't want these people to see it. It would freak them out. So it just says weekly fractal volunteers, but it tells what we're doing to this and how we're rallying volunteers, what to do. So it's we're actually doing a fundraiser in April for a cancer support nonprofit, using art and mixing those 2 in. The other thing I did was requested somebody help on the measurement side. So when we publish this thing, I can say, yeah, here's what it's doing and it's making a difference. So I got an expert of that named Dr. Paula Herring. So we spent a lot of time going over that. I shared the proposals. She's agreed to be on the chairman of my doctoral committee. Hopefully that gets approved. If not, it's a technical reason. If not, she'll be on the committee. But she's also agreed to participate if it works into her on this fractal. So getting her, she is a master at knowing nonprofits and fundraising and all that stuff. So she can help take this and grow it if our Eden principles work in here. The other thing we did is I've got a group with Vlad and Dan, and I invited to DOS to start creating a workflow of actually how we're going to do that, what tools will be available, and those kind of things. So now that I've written the action plan for what we're going to do with this fractal for that, and I've turned in a report that I'll share with you guys also that want it on, it's like 40-50 pages on how all this stuff fits together, and the argument for how motivation is linked to fractal consensus. So I know it's a lot of backup and research for that. So I finished that and turned that in. I've got the chairman committee. I went over that. I got the leadership team from 2 to agree to launch. I have 2 things: write up the workflow on how to do this, and figure out what we're going to actually, how we're actually going to do it. But we've got a time and place presenting. So things are moving ahead up pretty far. The only other thing is we were supposed to work on the alien worlds for Center for Governance, but Dwayne was sick last week, so we didn't do that. So hopefully if he's there this week, we can work on the webpage for governance.games. And of course, the Fractal Governance Center for Governance has an office for Eden. The Eden office is there, and we also have the media studio with Dan to start cranking out content, hopefully for more eyes there. So that's what I've done this week. But I'm sure Vlad would like to go next because he just raised his hand, but even if he has questions, go ahead.
Yeah. Did you get responses from those volunteers? How many are
I've got
interested?
verbal responses. This was at me talking to the whole group, and people are saying, "Thank God you're here. We like it. This sounds good." I got three high school women came, which is how exciting. I'm trying to get youth in there. 3 high school women came up to me and said, "This sounds more like, you know, a bunch of old people painting art. We like this." And they actually signed up as volunteers. So they weren't volunteers before. They actually signed up with volunteers and say they want to participate. So now that I've got the approval from the leadership to talk to the people, the next is to actually write it down as an email. So that's what I'm doing this week, is drafting the email to send an email blast to everybody on their list. So I've got permission to do that.
Okay. I can go.
So you said, sorry, you said that you requested help on the measurement side from an expert, and you also said that you are trying to get donations for a cancer initiative. So the
Yeah, we're growing. I've got 2 organizations. You know, the real question they asked me, I'm sure Jesse, it'd be nice if Jesse was here because I've got his ideas in this too. What they said is we need to increase our volunteers and our sales and all that kind of stuff. So I said, so what you're really talking about is marketing. What's your marketing budget? And of course they said $0. And I said, okay, well, the only way to do that is to get somebody like Dan posting content who's really good and consistent. Don't see that happening with this group. So I said the only other way to do that, being in marketing a long time, is to steal somebody else's or access somebody else's audience. So I got 2 groups that are non-competitive, and said, let's write stories together. Let's do an event together. Let's do this together. And that was enthusiastically accepted. So I wrote a plan to do that. Core to that plan is a weekly volunteer forum to help plan this thing, but it's really to do a lot more than that. So I got Michelle's place, but when I was talking about measurement for the dissertation, so in January, February, I got the person who's going to be hopefully the chair of my committee she's teaching my last class, doctoral class I ever taken. And she agreed to focus the class on just finishing this idea of metrics, because for a dissertation, I have to find a dependent variable and an independent variable. So in other words, how does this impact that? So I need to figure out what we're saying impacts and what we're measuring. So I have no clue yet what that's, you know, I'm talking about the impact of fractal governance on motivation, but what does that mean when you prove that?
Yeah,
what
okay,
are we measuring? Motivation.
Yeah, okay.
So how do you measure it?
So my question is, the measurement is going to be about the governance aspect, not the cancer aspect, correct?
Correct. No,
Okay.
It's going to be on motivating volunteers. It's going to be on the volunteer engagement. How do we attract? And I just don't know what, but the measurement is not on cancer. It's not even on art. It's about when we put this in place, how does this change the job satisfaction or performance or motivation or volunteers? And I've got January and February to figure that out with my instructor. She's agreed that I can write the last part of my paper, probably 20 to 50 pages just on that, doing research and thinking that out. The point is I've got other brain power who've agreed to help me along with this group on that.
Great.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks so much, Eric, for all the updates and all the great work you're doing. And thanks, Jorge and Vlad, for the questions. I suppose if anybody else has any questions for Eric, then we can ask now or later. I don't know if Vlad was starting to go before. He was just asking a question. Maybe you'd like to go next, Vlad?
I wanted to go.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
So it's been fairly busy week for me. A lot of thinking, not so much coding, a bit coding, like with CETF. Okay, I will not go into the details, but I was working on one front-end feature for the fund on EOS. But in terms of thinking, it was about this Eden Fractals mission. So I created this poll with answer options, what I thought could be missions, because it seems that every organization needs to have some kind of vision, so to say. If we don't have a unified vision, then there's not going to be order in our meetings. So I think that's important thing that we need to set. Then there's been quite a lot of thinking in regards to the ZEOS fractal. Yesterday we had a call with Dan and Matthias. It went for quite a long time. I think 2-3 hours. We discussed what should be the configuration of this fractal for ZEOS. So both we discussed the technical aspects, code-wise, how the contract will work, how the front end will work. Went quite deeply into the details. And so yeah, a lot of thought has been consumed by that today. Also, pretty much whole day I've been analyzing that, because the idea is to start as soon as possible with the weekly meetings for ZEOS Fractal. And for that we need, I think we need to have a very specific agenda already, so that there would not be a situation where people come and then there's no agenda and there's going to be random blah blah, and people get disappointed, get bad experience, and they do not want to participate later. So it has to be from the start, it has to be good experience. And so I'm working on that. Besides that, I set up a consortium for Eden. The participation has been pretty good. There's 19 Eden members voted in 2 different polls. So that's good. Oh yeah, relatively good participation. Eden has 440 members, but yeah. Besides that, I think that's more or less it. Well, there was a lot of back and forth with ENF, since we are working on the milestones for CETF, and there were some things that they wanted us to fix, so to say, in order to receive complete the current milestone. So was work there. And yeah, that's it. Marco, you have a question?
Yeah, you mentioned ZEOS Fractal and getting the story. Right, so yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Focus here is privacy, and it's not coming down from the ENF. I like a community thing, so absolutely, that's some special op. And then you said CTF. What's that? What's that?
Yeah. CTF is a protocol. in DeFi protocol. In simple terms, it enables to put many tokens in one token. Yeah, I can send the links.
Let me get the link. It sounds familiar.
Did you
like
say
to go
you
next?
created? So did you say you created a consortium for Eden or for Eden Fractal?
Eden Fractal has. Well, actually, Eden had as well, but then I switched it to Eden Fractal. But now I created another one for Eden specifically again.
Okay. Okay.
And I configured it differently this time. So now it's more simple. Now each Eden member has just one vote, and it's quite clear that way how it works.
So I voted yesterday in the consortium for your proposal about the mission of Eden Fractal. And it said I had 1,000 Eden. And I didn't know that. Where did those come from?
Did it? Okay. And then it must be some kind of, since I updated the front end, I think it's some kind of bug. I will look into it.
Those are different from the Eden token we have in this Eden Fractal, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we already have at least 3 Eden. The Eden from this Eden Fractal, the Eden from Consortium, and the Eden from the Spanish-speaking Fractal, which is a test token, a dummy token.
Yes. Well, it's just as I understand, then the Eden Fractals, Eden balance is just read. It's hard-coded, so to say. I think everybody has right now 1,000 tokens. Yeah. I'll fix that.
And what's the role, like the difference in the role between the Eden token we have at Consortium and the govern token?
Well, the govern token was supposed to be the utility token of the consortium. So the idea was that in order for you to create a poll, you would have to burn a little bit of govern token. And right now I set this burn to 0, just so that there would be less friction if somebody from Eden doesn't have the govern token, so that they wouldn't have this problem.
Okay.
Lenny?
And the Eden token?
Yeah.
What is it for? The Eden token.
Eden token is voting power. I think all of us.
No, I mean the Eden token within Consortium, which is another Eden.
No, that's the consortium.
No.
I was just in and double check
Okay.
it. It says voting power. So I think that's even. It's 1 vote each based on 1,000 Eden each, I presume, Vlad.
So the Eden's consortium has 1 token per each person, but the Eden Fractal reads the Eden token balance. But right now, it reads the wrong balance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I messed it up. Yeah, Eden Fractal is 1,000. You're right.
Yeah.
I should be quiet.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that was a bit confusing for me too when I voted. I was a bit confused, but thanks for clarifying that. And shall we move on? Does anybody else want to go? He says, Jorge, do you want to go? I'm also ready to go too, if nobody else wants to go.
I can go.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Also, just by the way, before you go, sorry, Jorge, I just want to say, so Pascal joined, and then Pascal just left, but right now both the rooms are filled. So I invited Pascal to join here. I suppose he can't participate because it's a bit late. That happened to him last week again too, so I feel a bit bad about it. But I think it's the best option. At least we can talk with Pascal once he joins back in. But I was going to welcome Pascal, but he left, so I just wanted to say that because he's about to join back in. But I suppose just go ahead, and then we can welcome him after you're done.
Okay. Okay, so last night we had our end of the year meeting at the Spanish-speaking Fractal. We had a small party there. We have plenty of plans for next year, and we are very enthusiastic about what everyone is doing here. Also, Matthias from ZEOS, from the ZEOS initiative, published a list of videos about how to be anonymous on the web, and how could a fractal meeting be performed anonymously. So I've been studying these videos. I like to take this initiative to the Spanish-speaking Fractal, and I also think it's a great ability to have. So I've been training myself on that. I managed to get some of the Spanish-speaking Fractal members to rally and donate to the CETF initiative of Vlad. That's a way of thanking him for his support for the design of our smart contract for the Spanish-speaking Fractal. And we are still doing tests with the test token, which is also called Eden. The real token is going to be called Respeto. And that's pretty much it for this week for me. And yeah, if you don't have any questions, I'll give the word to Marco, which is right at my side.
Thanks, Jorge. I'll just jump in first and also welcome Pascal and Perry. Thank you both for joining, and it's great to see you both. Yeah, so both rooms have 6 people again. That's why we have 8 people in this room. And I'm not sure what the best protocol to do in these situations going forward is. Last week we had the same kind of situation. Pascal and Lisa joined a bit later, and we had 6 people. So Pascal asked, yeah, why is it possible to join a room already with 6 participants? So it's always possible with Zoom. Like Zoom, you could have, I don't know, 10 or 20, however many people in each breakout room, I think. And when I initially do it, I just hit automate groups of 5 or 6. And so we started out with groups of 5 or 6, but then when I see 2 new people join, then I have the ability as the Zoom host to assign different people to different rooms. So I had the opportunity or the choice to either just basically leave you guys in the community room, which I felt like might be kind of lonely and not so much fun, or invite you guys here, or invite you guys to room 2. And I thought about inviting you guys to room 2, but I thought that might cause confusion, and it's probably better for us to talk about it here. So that's why I invited you here. It's better not to allow it. And also Reiki just joined too. So I'll admit Reiki now. And then we actually might be able to split into 3 rooms now, possibly, because we have 3 people added, although I'm not exactly sure how that would work. So Pascal says it's better not to allow it. I mean, I feel like that might be a good point. But I'm not sure what's best though. I feel like it's nice and inviting to welcome people. I'll also invite Reiki here too, so he can participate in this conversation. And then we can figure it out as a group. But yeah, I'd be curious to hear if anybody has any thoughts about the best way to do this, both now, if we should try breaking out in a different breakout room, or if we should just do spectators, and also in the future as well.
I think we have plenty of time, and whenever people comes, my experience from the Spanish-speaking Fractal is to receive them, not to reject people. So I'll go for splitting the room splitting the whole meeting in 3 rooms. We already have 9 people here, so we can have one room of 4, and one room of 5, and one room of 6.
Okay. I like that idea because it makes it so everybody can participate, and we don't have any formal rules. That's also something we should probably do, like formalize these kind of rules and protocols in the future, so we know what to do in the future. But for now, I like that so everybody can participate and get respect and so forth. I'm not totally sure how it works because I don't know if I can. I suppose I can. Yes, I can. As a Zoom host, it doesn't allow me to start a new room without closing all rooms, I think. So I think that I'd have to close the rooms and then manually assign room 2 to be the same. And then I could do it where we have 5 and 4 in this group. But I think we need to reach some more consensus. So I'm in agreement with Jorge. That's a good idea. But I'm also open to, I know it adds some complexity. So if people don't want to do that or have a different idea, then I'm also interested in hearing it as well. What do people think is best?
I wouldn't be insulted in any way if I just was an observer this week. No problem. So whatever you guys decide is fine. I'm just happy to be here.
No problem for me also. So my point was just to make sure that we we have some kind of discipline. You know, if we just keep it like no rules, we may face some challenge in the future. So it's better that in the short term we have some minimum discipline. If we say it's maximum 6, let's keep it 6. But I'm also for the welcoming, but let's keep our processes some discipline there, especially at this point that the Eden Fractal is building. So it's my point, but I will join Perry and just listen, but we should not just be allowing, like, because the new members, they will not find their way if we don't have some minimum discipline at the beginning. That's the point.
So
Yeah.
could you send us back to the main room and then split those 9 people in 2 groups?
Yes. So
But it has to be manually done, and it's going to take 5-10 minutes probably, I guess, and maybe mess up, because you can't automate it when we end up different rooms again.
yeah, so let me clarify a couple of things. So one, Lenny, yeah, so I believe in order to split people to a third, actually you guys could go back to the main session, and I could do that easily, and that wouldn't take any time. So I could send the people who joined, we could pick 4 of us to go back to the main session, and that's open. So it wouldn't take any time, actually. It would just take a minute to decide who goes. To answer what Pascal was saying, I completely agree. And I think that we should like make rules about this for the future. Although currently the rule is with the smart contract, there can't be more than 6 people anyway. So that also constrains us, and we're not changing that. But I think for now we could go into separate rooms and that would work. Also, I want to welcome Reiki too, or rather, yeah, Reiki. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I pronounce your name correctly, but thank you for joining. It said just listening. So I guess he's not planning to participate. But thanks for joining. Really appreciate you, Reiki, and feel free to share your thoughts. The discussion that we were having, just to fill you in, is that there's supposed to be a max of 6 people in the rooms. And when we started, at the time, we had enough for 2 breakout rooms with 6 people, but then you, Pascal, and Perry joined later. So we were just figuring out the best way to do it. But yeah, I can send, I mean, if you guys want to spectate and just hang out and watch, then that's cool. You guys mentioned that you guys were interested or open to that. But also I can just move 4 people to the main session as well. And that wouldn't be difficult to do. I could do that in like a couple seconds. So what do we think is best? Also, we have
I'm
a
just
half
here
hour
to
left.
watch and learn about the process. So don't bother about me, and I'm just here to be a fly on the wall if that's cool. If not, then I'm happy to leave as well.
Okay.
Well, I could go to the main room with the 3 people who were here, and then we will be a 3rd group in the main room and do our process. So we'll have 3 groups in total.
That works for me, as long as Reiki would be interested in participating. He said he just is fly on the wall, but would you be interested in participating as well, Reiki? And just like sharing your contributions and participating in the voting? Because otherwise we'd have, I guess, 2 groups of 4, which I suppose could work as well, but.
We have 3 people here now who said they're okay just to be observers for this time around until we fix it. So I suggest we do as we do now. There's 6 slots, and those are the guys who were here on time, and the other 3 listen in and can give input and talk anyway.
Okay. That works for me. It seems like we have consensus about that, so we'll proceed like that, as Lenny suggested. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Sounds good. And yeah, thanks for all the thoughts. And I definitely agree we should seek to improve this. So perhaps after the breakout room or during next week, we can figure out a way to set up a system or protocol for this in the future. And with that, Jorge just went. I don't know if anybody had any questions for Jorge. We also do got to be pretty expedient because we only have about a half hour left. But if anybody does, then feel free to share, or I think Jorge passed on to Marco after.
Yeah. By the way, if anybody complains about your moderation, I'm going to say Eden Fractal governance is about people networking, and that's what we're doing. And you know, on that, I mentioned before the recording started that the Eden on EOS quarterly, every 3 months, is just not advancing the blockchain mindset enough. So I've commented that in chat. Haven't done much for you. I actually depreciated Eden as a lead for the community in newsletters that are now bi-monthly, as are published by your support by Bywire. So I didn't depreciate the focus. I mean, I just recognized the transition, and I am looking for a way to again put it at the head of the community. But right now with the transition, everything, I just I leave recaps and stuff in there. I just don't say the Eden unused community. But anyway, when all this stuff comes together, all this stuff running through my mind, I'm not doing much other than commenting. I did come up with something this week, and that is, I really believe that Eden needs to be more involved with people. The chief delegates this time around are hard to find videos in a timely fashion. They're growing more and more dissociated from the community, which is not what it's about at all in any form. So for the Eden election, I'd like to run on the basis of making Eden more regularly involved. And that's not, some managed Telegram channel. In some way actually involved on the blockchain. And the thing that does that best right now is the fractals, the Eden Fractal here. So in the past, I promoted it, so it's good, and I really didn't push it. Same thing with Carmelo, but this time I'll actually be actively pushing to get Eden more regularly involved in the community and blockchain. And unless somebody else comes up with another suggestion, this is by far the spearhead of that. And I'm going to pass it off to Lenny. Anything more?
Yeah, just gonna get organized a wee bit. I have a short and normal spiel, which anyone who's been in my rooms know from before. Main parts I do focus, so to say, EOS and Eden wise is for recaps. You know them already, EOS, Eden Fractal, Eden member group, similarly. Then also, of course, we're gonna, I don't know how many hours to stay on top of things, and among all the stupid comments and similar. So, and a lot of thinking in connection with it, ever since we got that big, huge donation from an interesting place. And so it's been a lot on my mind, Eden-wise, and I'm not Eden-wise as much as EOS overall and similar, but Eden's also. So no invites for the normal reasons as before. And last week, level 1, that's a template from last time. I think I was level 1, I'm not sure. But that's about it. I do my normal work quietly in the background, and like Reiki today, I'm a fly on the wall, and when I need to, then I say something. So I'll pass it on to who is left now.
Daniel.
I think it's just me.
Yeah, yep. Dan himself. Yeah. Okay, go, Dan.
Oh, okay, sounds great, Lenny. Really appreciate all your work and everybody's work, and I'll share my presentation pretty quickly to be efficient with time. So for the first half of the week, I was working a lot on Fractal Apple. I did the first episodes last week, and I was planning on doing it on Sunday and every week, but I decided to push it back, partially on the same idea that Lenny gave the advice about not trying to do so much at once. So I built fractalapple.com, and it's super early in development now. I just started building some art and just a kind of a quick design about how it could look, and laying it to episodes with show notes where people could find each episode, as well as notes related to it and so forth. So it's very early in development now, but there's like a little bit of show notes here and stuff like that. So I'm going to push this back until next year at some point to get more, to get caught up on a lot of the other initiatives. But here's some of the ideas. I was also playing a 30 episode about why are games so helpful. I want to make it like a really fun episode about games, and also tie in Eden Fractal consensus games and so forth. So I was doing a lot of research into the innovations of play with some great books like Finite Games and Infinite Games and so forth that are really inspiring. I think are really helpful to share with the community. But that's kind of on hold, but I was working on that a lot earlier in the week. Decided to push it back. I spoke at the EOS Fireside Chat for quite a while. I first attempted to share some announcements about Eden plus Fractal with Creator Talk podcast and Fractal Apple, and also the new proposals that we passed that the DOS proposed. I kind of messed it up a little bit, but I learned some lessons about how to do it better. And then I gave quite some long speeches with the Eden community, had a long conversation about Eve about why funding Eden is really helpful as well. Timestamps will be there soon too, but we talked for like, I don't know, 45 minutes or so. And so I think that helps spread the word about a lot. I've also been taking a lot of time just to keep up with all the conversations and like really internalize what everybody thinks about these new Chief Delegate meetings. So I watched the new Eden Chief Delegate call, or listened rather. And then I read and took a lot of notes on all the comments that were going on in the chats. And then I also I hosted the Eden Town Hall, the 29th one, this weekend with Chris and Jesse from Chief Delegates, and also Sang Young from Eden Korea. And there was like 7 people other than us, 2, Patrick and several other people. So we had a great discussion for like an hour and a half. And then I just published this video here. I'm going to be publishing a lot more videos from the town hall soon, because I'm on like a 2-month backlog. But that's there as a great conversation. And there's also timestamps here. So I shared this as well as a bunch of other messages in the chats for Eden members chat, and also in the Eden Discord, or not the Eden Discord yet, but the Eden on EOS chat. So promoting both Eden and Eden Fractal with these and the EOS community as a whole, and helping communicate during these big proposals. I also participated with Eric in the meeting he's hosting on every Saturday, which I encourage everybody to join at 16:30 UTC. And we talked a lot about Eric's plans, and also Daniel Gauthier's plans, and several other people working on cool ideas for fractals. So cool plans for initiatives. I've also been in contact with a lot of people. So for example, I've been in contact with Pascal. Pascal reached out to me a bit. And so I was reviewing his initiative for Theagori, and he's got some new updates there. So that's one example. I've also been in contact with Lisa and several other people. But I think Theagori, or if I'm mispronouncing it, Theagori, it sounds super cool. So I figured I'd include it here. And then also I had a meeting with Vlad and Matthias about pseudonymous fractals with EOS fractals. A lot of really interesting innovations that Matthias is sharing. So I've been trying to help to just play a role in helping to provide feedback about these models and so forth, and helping to launch this fractal to help pseudonymous fractals and so forth. And then, I also briefly responded in the Eden Fractal Telegram chat to Vlad's proposal about the mission of Eden Fractal. I agree with everything that Vlad wrote here, but I also say maybe it should be more succinct, like Eden Fractal is helping people cooperate and collaborate with EOS. That might be something good to discuss in the meeting afterwards. And I made 2 other proposals for themes for discussion for today, just before the meeting, about the idea to incentivize curation of more equal animals. I think it's a really good idea and would be a fitting way to start with these next steps for Eden community, where it all kind of started with more equal animals. So a couple months ago, I wrote this article about curating more equal animals and making timestamps and so forth, and websites and so forth to help spread the word. So I kind of relinked that and just put out a feeler to see what people are interested in discussing that soon. And then I also put out a topic about what do you think about the recent proposals from the Eden Chief Delegates. And thanks, Reiki, for all the great work with the Chief Delegates as well. Other than that, I suppose I'll leave it there. Also, Vlad's comment about the mission reminded me of James Mart's excellent article about mutually benefiting from misaligned goals. So I figured I would just include this as well too, and I'll share the link for anybody who's interested in exploring, but really insightful. And Pascal said, thanks for Tadasta and Lenny for the feedback on Theagori. Sounds great. You're very welcome. And I'll close up my proposal there, and happy to answer any questions. And we have about almost 20 minutes left to do both consensus of respect and consensus of delegation. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts for me or anybody else before we go into consensus games?
I do have a question for Marco. When he was talking about more regularly involvement, what does that look like? I didn't quite understand. I like the idea, but I didn't quite understand what you meant.
Well, we're here weekly, and we're connecting to the blockchain at least weekly, or with Consortium 4 times, right? And then individual members, based on what things happen here. Not only is Eden on EOS only meeting once a quarter, once a tax period. the delegates are more dissociated than the people here. So when they do things on the blockchain, it's much less often than what gets inspired here. So yeah, getting the community together, even if it's on pop-ups or whatever, but more than once every time taxes are due. That's the mindset of traditional businesses. I'll even say before the internet. We need to make use of this technology for what it can do, not fit the technology into a system of thought that predates the internet, which is what marketing still tries to do, what social media even tries to do. Yeah, that last point.
Might be worth thinking about is why you want them more engaged. I'm not saying they don't need, but making that clear, I think, would be helpful.
Because blockchain is peer-to-peer. We have the ability to exchange intellectual dialogue.
Okay, but that's what you can do. The question is why? What are you trying to do? Benefit who or what in what way?
When we talk, when we exchange ideas, there's potential for value generation in the real world.
Okay, that's getting closer.
Blockchain allows us to make that connection.
But again, you're talking about capabilities versus outcomes. You're talking about the how versus the why. I could throw a party every Saturday, have people at my house, and people like parties, and that might be fun. And the reason might be I just like to get my friends and neighbors back. But it's when we're talking.
When we started flying, it was about well, what can you do with the airplane? It was from bonfire to bonfire, and then it grew into here. But to do it on a quarterly basis, that's bad. But to do it within the constructs of like airplanes following rail lines makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense for the Eden on EOS election to occur every quarter because it's non-traditional business. So the mindset, getting out of the mindset. So that's what I'm saying. We have a problem in these chats. We have a solution here. So let's get more people aware of that. And that's done by getting things on chain more often than a quarter, but more importantly, not having these delegates so dissociated from the community and what they do. Amelo has accountability, Eden doesn't. Eden's accountability is the next election, but nobody's heard of anybody and nobody's paying attention. Here, it's not just accountability. We're doing things on blockchain inspired here. We're beyond accountability, where there's a living life, or even with a small group like that. So I get what you're saying. I love to get your points. I love to get the criticism, where they are, where they're meeting up. But I'm looking at it non-traditional, just to throw it out. So I take my time.
Well, yeah, thanks a lot, Marco, for sharing your thoughts and your passion and enthusiasm about these weekly meetings. And thanks, Eric, for the question. I suppose we should probably get moving on the consensus because we started like 2 or 3 minutes late, so we have probably like 13 or 14 minutes to reach consensus on both the respect and delegation. So if anybody has any more quick comments, then I suppose now's a good time. But otherwise, is everybody ready to do the consensus?
Sure.
Okay, cool. This is very difficult. I don't know what to pick exactly. Okay.
Do we need to be blind, or we just do it open here?
I think using the Zoom chat, as we usually do, is probably the most efficient way to do it, at least to start.
Yeah, but before a question, please raise your hand if you are against doing self-ranking at any point in the process.
That should be one of the proposals for the next week.
Yeah.
Oh, you are allowed to do it.
Okay, so we are doing self-ranking, okay? Because nobody raised.
Very short twist on yours. The thing is self-ranking, but sometimes it's necessary. We've seen that in a few breakout rooms, so you can't say for given. It's voluntary, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, it's voluntary. It's allowed. Not necessarily doing it, but you could do it if you want to. Anybody could do it if they want to. Okay. Is everybody ready for level 6?
Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay. It looks like Eric has 2 and I have 3, and one person didn't vote. It looks like.
Yeah, one is missing.
Is it me? It's me again, I think. Is it?
Yes, it's you.
Yeah, you didn't.
I need to buy a new laptop. This is a joke. It happens every time.
Okay, we have consensus for done.
Sorry for that.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. And we can go on to level 5. Is everybody ready for level 5?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, and go.
Muted.
Okay, Eric has 4 there. Vlad had 2, so that's consensus on Eric, I believe. Got some cool music from Jorge. Are you ready for level 4?
Yep.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Or go. So far, there's been 4 votes. Vlad has 3 and Jorge has 1. And okay, now Vlad has 4, so that's consensus for Vlad.
I got a problem on my laptop, so it is definitely the laptop, not me always. But I.
Okay. Sounds good. It's all good, Lenny. Is everybody ready for level 3?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, and go. Jorge has 5, and Lenny has 1, so Jorge has consensus. Is everybody ready for level 2? I think that's a yes. 3, 2, 1, and go. Lenny has 4 and Marco has 2. So that is consensus for Lenny. So that was pretty efficient. That was pretty quick. Does anybody have any thoughts about any of these consensus submissions? Thanks everybody again for all the great work. It's of course really difficult to make these decisions, but we only have so much time, so that's why I kind of just put out votes quick. But I could advocate lots of great stuff for lots of people doing awesome stuff. But I see Lenny, you have your hand or a pen. You're going to write something.
No, I just wanted to check one thing because I haven't checked factually in our paperwork or anything, but are we working here in the breakout rooms for majority or for 2/3 + 1, or which formula is it? Because we like now it's not 2/3 + 1, and that's something I enjoy very much to see as much as possible. So where are we really on that?
That's a good question. I mean,
okay, proposal next time. We don't have to waste time on it. We got to take it in the main room or something.
Yeah, good point. Because right now we're at 66.67% basically, which I suppose I think the Fractally, Genesis Fractal had it at the same, but I'm not totally sure. But yeah, that's a good discussion to be most sure about it, because I don't know, maybe we should do 5 out of 6 rather than 4 to 6.
Yeah, it was 4 out of 6 for Fractally.
Okay. And then council. So we have 6 or 7 minutes to get a council, I think. So right now, I'll also share the link for who's currently on the council right now. So you can check out the spreadsheet. Right now, council 8 is still active, but will be, this is the last week for council 8, I believe. Actually, no, council 8 is not active anymore. sorry, I should. We're electing Council 11 and Council 10, and 9 and 8 are active, but this is the last week for 8. Eric, you were in Council 8, and I was in Council 9, and Eric was in Council 10, and Vlad is in Council 10. Who's interested in being a delegate for this week? Marco?
I am, and I'll say 4 out of 6 should stand unless the losing party decides to call for 5 out of 6. Keep things quick.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Thanks, Marco. Did you say you're interested in being a delegate too, or did I mishear you there? Okay.
Yes.
So Marco is interested in being a delegate too. I'd be happy to be a delegate as my term will end next week. But I'd also be happy to hear from anybody else who's interested in being a delegate. Who else is anybody else who's interested in being a delegate this week? I see Lenny's not currently there.
Is Marco a delegate now?
No, Marco is not currently delegate.
Cool.
I know Lenny's just ended last week, and so Lenny's not currently delegate either. Are you interested in being a delegate, Lenny?
If someone else is hungry for it, I'm open to stand back. I'm not that hungry, but if no one else wants it, yeah, sure. But I'm a bit tired. You can notice maybe. I'm a bit overworked.
Okay, and Jorge's never been a delegate, I don't think. But anyway, we don't have so much time, so.
No, I'm not feel prepared. I haven't really studied the Vlalendas process and all these new protocols. I don't have much to provide to as a delegate right now.
Okay. So
if no one else is offering, I offer to take the delegate. Oh, no, Marco, you wanted to go up too, huh? Did I read wrong?
I haven't been active past few weeks, so.
Okay, I'll leave it to others then to judge.
yeah, I would be happy with Marco or Lenny or myself as delegates. Marco signals interest first. So Marco, do you plan on being at the next 4 meetings for the hour afterwards to be able to deliberate on proposals and reading them in advance? Okay.
I do. On them, yes.
Sounds good. Yeah, I would do the same, and I imagine Lenny would probably do the same. But yeah, does anybody? I think it'd be cool for Marco to be a delegate. But does anybody have any thoughts about who should be a delegate, or should we do a Zoom vote, or how should we go about this?
I'm happy with Marco.
I think we can do a thumbs up for Marco, votes in favor. That's easy. Quick.
Sounds good. Yeah, if I vote for Marco, I'll give a thumbs up for Marco too.
So,
okay.
I think we have majority already.
Yes, I think it's unanimous.
Has anyone completed the rankings for the app? I don't have Vlad's participant in them.
I'm trying to write them down. I was waiting for Vlad's address.
Who came in 5? Eric, right?
Yeah.
So if we have time, I've been kind of away and I picked up on the end of some meetings the past 3 weeks. What's the most pressing issue here?
Well, according to Consortium, the issue that has the most votes right now is the mission of Eden Fractal. I believe at least unless people have voted on it more. So according to our official systems, I think that's the most pressing issue. Although other people maybe haven't had a chance to vote yet too, so other people could think of it differently.
I just posted the rankings the rankings, please guys check the spellings.
What room we in, Ari?
In
We're
the
in
chat.
room number 1.
The one thing I got out of the proposal for mission is I think we should just redefine it because I voted for something else only because I saw the above and I just saw complex. Mission should be direct, easy to remember almost on first read. So yeah, I like the idea. It's just a lot of stuff. You know,
You said you think we should redefine it?
yeah, make it more concise.
Yeah.
Consider everything that's there. All the above is nice and inclusive, and I like that. Anyway, we can have a mission and a vision, maybe combine them.
Our mission is all of the above. Yeah, thanks again, Vlad, for making that and kicking off. And the first proposal for a theme of discussion too. So that's really cool and also an important thing too. So I'm looking forward to discussing in the breakout rooms. And yeah, thanks everybody for the great meeting. I'll also close the breakout rooms now. So we'll have 60 seconds left.
Did you guys check the spelling of the rankings?
I have not yet.
Yeah, mine's fine.
Yeah, transaction went through, so
They are group
should be
number
good.
1, right?
Yep.
Yes, that's correct. And yeah, thanks again, Pascal and Perry, for joining. Sorry that the room was full, but yeah, in the future we can make some sort of protocol for this as well. And I encourage too, if you guys are able to join before 16 UTC, then you can ensure that you'll be in a room and can participate.
Dan, we ran out of time. We didn't.
Oh, sorry about that. I should have maybe given a warning. You want me to send you guys back to the breakout room?
Yeah, can you send us back?
Yep, sure.
Thanks. Should be done shortly.
Yeah, shortly. Yeah.
Okay. Jesse, Patrick, Tadas, Ujel, and Elias was in there too? And
Yes.
also Sebastian?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm hitting, I guess I hit recreate, and that'll recreate your room. Let's see if it works. Or maybe I'll just open all rooms, and then people who are in room 1 just can stay here. It worked. Looks like Jorge went back to room 1 too, so he's having a fun time with just hanging out on his own now. It's good to see you, Perry. It's been a while since we've seen you here. Thanks again for joining. And I've been appreciating seeing your messages here and there as well throughout the past weeks.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I'm glad to be here. Listen to the process. It looks like it's been updated somewhat. I don't remember the concept of delegates in Fractal, in Eden Fractal. That's probably been for a while, but I haven't been to a meeting since then. And yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened with how you, I didn't realize you appointed the delegates, is what I think just happened, an appointment with Marco, or was that a vote? Was that a vote?
It was a vote. It was a vote to appoint, I suppose you could say. And
just one delegate at a time?
one delegate from each breakout room. And
Oh,
then
okay.
the delegates form a council. Each delegate serves for 4 weeks, and the councils work together to pass proposals with a 3 out of 4 council consensus to pass proposals.
Okay. And so every 4 weeks you go through that delegate electing process.
We do it every week, and then the delegates will serve for the next 4 weeks. Also, Eric was saying something, but you're muted, Eric.
Do it every week, but they
I
serve.
was just saying the terms are staggered, so it's not like a whole new group gets in every 4 weeks. They're staggered. So yeah, it's a 4-week term, but they don't all start and end on the same date.
Ah, okay, I got it.
There's constantly 4 active councils.
I see. Okay. And where are all the rules currently collected? Where can I read all the current rules? Is there a place?
Yeah, it's not all in one spot. So I've been working to curate this new process when we're calling it Eden plus Fractal. It was proposed by DOS about 2 months ago. So I've been making a page that needs some updating now, but it includes the details about this process at edencreators.com/Eden plus Fractal or /plus. So you can find DOS's original proposal, as well as lots of discussions about that and some podcasts. And then I also released a new show last week called Creator Talk Show, and at creatortalk.show has an interview that I did with DOS and more details about the Eden plus Fractal process. And then there's another process for moderation and stuff, a few proposals that we passed last week too, that are some additional rules that aren't on that page, and then I'm going to be curating soon. And we can just share the links when we find them in the chat as well, if you're curious about that as well. Does that help?
So I'm on your Eden Creator site. Where do I go?
So this edencreators.com/Eden plus Fractal, you could just scroll through here and see how it works. If you want to scroll down to the second section where it says introductory article and proposal, you can see DOS made a post, and you can see a screenshot of DOS's post there where it specifies the 7 basically points of the proposal about how it works, which is basically what we just explained to you. And then you can also learn more about it if you want to scroll down to see some of the benefits and more discussions about how it works. But it's summarized in those 7 points, so how it works. And then also the creatortalk.show has more details about the process, basically.
I'm not finding an intro section. So I guess my point is this should be super easy to find, right? Wouldn't we want new people to just immediately see exactly what's going on and the explanation for it, and right?
Yes. So there is an intersection. It's pretty easy to find if you just scroll down a little bit. It's the second section. It says introductory article and proposal where you can find it. But I completely agree. It should be easier. This is a work in progress because we've been doing a lot over the past couple months. So I'm aiming to curate it better on the Eden Creators site. And then also Matthias made some great points with Vlad and I when we went with him yesterday, saying that all of these things should be very easily accessible within one app, like the voting app should have all of these things at once. People can glance over it. So I agree. We should also curate it better all in one spot in that way as well. But for right now, I think this is the best resource we have about it, and unless anybody else has any other resources that they're more familiar with. But this, it's got a lot of details, and I think it's quite well curated.
I don't want to take up more time, but I'm on your website, edencreators.com, and I don't find anything that you just referred to.
Are you on the page for Eden plus Fractal?
No, I'm not. I'm on
okay.
edencreators.com.
Okay, yeah, so I just shared a link in the Zoom chat. Sorry if I didn't specify that before, but edencreators.com/Eden plus Fractal. You can also find it by scrolling around, but it's easier just to click the link. And then you can find the page. And then there's also the Creator Talk Show, which I'll share again in the chat as well in case people didn't see it. But those are the pages with the details.
Spelled out.
What's
plus
that?
is spelled out. It's spelled out, not the plus sign.
Oh, yes, right? That's correct. Yep.
All right. Okay, there we go. Yep. All right, I can see that now.
Cool. And by the way, so Perry, thank you very much for asking. I'm happy to go into more details about this, and we could perhaps have a meeting later on to go in more details if you have questions. I see Marco has his hands up too, so I want to hear what Marco has to share. Thanks everybody. I hope you had a great time and welcome back to the room. But also we are doing the newly proposed and I suppose the newly proposed and approved proposal that we did last week that Tadas proposed about the guidelines for the hour after the breakout rooms. One of the suggestions there was to have kind of 5 minutes of just open discussion afterwards, but then be pretty expedient and fairly strict and sticking to the schedule. So I think we should aim to do that. And the top proposal that's up for discussion is a proposal for a theme of discussion that Vlad made. So Vlad can introduce that. It's about the mission for Eden Fractal. First, I'll ask Marco, because he's had his hands up for a while. First I'll give Marco the opportunity to speak and ask what's on your mind, Marco, and then we'll pass it to Vlad, and Vlad can share his presentation about the mission for Eden Fractal.
All right, yeah, so I voted for Vlad something else, not to change anything, but to make it more concise, because I like the all of the above, but again, too much to digest in a single mission statement. So maybe breaking up the mission and vision, but I initially had my hand up.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I was going to say it'd be best if Vlad introduces it first, and then you can share the feedback afterwards. But if you're going to share something else quickly for a different reason, then go ahead.
Yeah, I was. Initially, my hand was up because I was going to say that we're doing this 52 times a year. Eden is doing it 4 times, and just finding an Eden site, on the other site is tough. The fact that we have a site, the fact that the purpose of the delegates is to get a handle on these rules is really impressive for what we're doing in far advances anything in the EOS system. And beyond that, the 52 times a week is just the base of what this is meant to be. There's more networking going on, more operations going on. So let's be patient and forgiving in how we bring things together. We should be not under more stress than an organization that just got 500,000 EOS. We should be able to cruise and let them plow the way. That'll pass them up there.
Yep, great points. Thank you, Marco. I agree. And Perry, working on curing this better, but it'll take some time. And yeah, so we're already 4 minutes past the time that we specified. If anybody has any guidance about best ways to moderate this, then please feel free to let me know. But with that, I'll pass it on to Vlad to share the proposal about the Eden Fractal mission.
Yep. So initially, I think it's good to step back a bit and understand why it's this thing that we are discussing, this topic. So last week we accepted 3 proposals, and because of that, now it is possible to create polls or create polls on Eden Fractal's Consortium, and the polls that have the most votes, those are the topics that will be discussed first. So for the next week, if you have some idea what to discuss, you can create a poll, and if it will have a lot of votes, that's what we will discuss. And I think one good topic for starters is for us to understand what is why are we meeting every week. So what to get on the same page, what are we doing? And so the question is, what is the mission of Eden Fractal? And I just everything that came into my mind, I put it into the answer options. So first idea was research, design, build, and implement decentralized governance solutions for social organizations. That's, I think, one thing that we have been already doing. And actually, now that I reflect, quite successfully, because this process is getting pretty comprehensive and interesting. Then another answer option was onboard new members to Eden. So the idea behind that is, well, yeah, there's no deeper idea. It's just to collaborate with Eden. Okay, maybe the idea is a little bit that since Eden has a pretty good budget now, and if we are somehow very beneficial for Eden, we can make a proposal for them to fund us, so we could be even more productive. Then third idea was serve as inner networking layer for EOS mainnet, create personal connections between EOS members, foster collaboration within EOS community. That's also something that I personally experienced while participating in those meetings. So, for example, we met with Matthias through those meetings, and a collaboration was born. So it's really a great way to meet like-minded people. And yeah, so those were the ideas. And curious to hear what you think it should be.
Well, yeah, thanks so much, Vlad. I said it in our breakout room, but I really appreciate you making this proposal and sharing it. And I think it's a great first discussion for us to have. I see Patrick and Eric have their hands up too, so I'm curious. I saw Patrick, you private messaged me too, so I'm working on responding to that. That was about something different. That seems very interesting. I'm looking forward to getting to that, but I'm also looking forward to hearing feedback from Vlad, and would like to try to focus discussion first on Vlad before we move on Vlad's proposal before we move on. And yeah, I'll just briefly share in the Eden Fractal Telegram chat. I just say that I voted for all of the above. Vlad, I completely agree with what you're saying about all these different benefits and parts of the mission. Marco mentioned during our room, I think, that having it shorter and more concise is probably a good idea too. So I agree with that. And so the thing I wrote in the Telegram group was help communities cooperate and collaborate with EOS, which I think covers a lot of what you're saying and includes it. But that's also just a first draft, and I really appreciate you sharing that. And I suppose if Vlad has any comments here that you'd like to share in response, then go ahead. It's your proposal. And then if not, then Patrick has hands raised up next. And then we got Eric and Perry on deck.
Thank you, Vlad, for your nice proposal. And I am something totally complementary with what you said. And I have the pleasure here to announce that Consortium has some possibility of integration with Mindweb. I discussed of that with you, Vlad, a couple of days ago, that we could do some links between a proposal on Consortium, and that the proposal on Consortium is directly linked into the mind map of Eden Fractal brainstorming session, because the Eden Fractal brainstorming session mind map contains the proposals that we are brainstorming on. And that makes totally sense when you have something appearing on the Consortium Eden Fractal, that automatically that sends the link of the Consortium proposals, Eden Fractal proposal, to the mind map. Like this, the people don't have to use the web form and send the link to the Mindweb mind map. So that was a discussion that we had. Also, we had other discussion, but I just want to be focused on Consortium. So that was that. And also, I have the pleasure to announce that I am campaigning into Eden next election, term 5. I have received a good support about my intent to go as a chief delegate on Eden member 5.
So Patrick, I'm just going to jump in. I'm just going to jump in real
I
quick.
just
here.
want to.
I'm very excited that you're running, and I want to hear more about it. But also, Vlad,
No,
he said it's kind of off topic.
No, I would just say that I will represent very good the Eden Fractal needs. That's what I want to say here. So that's all. I will share more later on.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you, Patrick. And yeah, I'm super stoked that you're running and helping in all the things you said. I'm just also trying to do my best as a moderator to help us keep focused on the discussion that Vlad proposed about the mission for Eden Fractal. But yeah, thank you very much, Patrick, for sharing your thoughts. And now I'll pass it on to Eric. Eric, what do you think about Vlad's proposal or Vlad's topic suggestion?
I love vision and mission statements, and it always gives me great pleasure when, for those that don't, I did a lot of business consulting. So yeah, so it always gives me great pleasure when people get excited about how we've been able to work visions and missions. But I think there are two parts that need to be kind of clear. The first is why. So the vision says, what impact do we want to have to who, and kind of what's missing, what role do we provide to do that? And then the mission talks about how you're going to do it. For example, Apple's is very simple. It says we challenge the status quo in order to allow you to be personally creative. How do we do that? With elegantly designed devices. So that is the mission. We make elegantly designed devices in order to achieve the vision. So I think it should be clear the why, who do we want to impact, and what role do we play that's missing? And then the other part is, oh, here's what we do in order to make that happen. So that's my feedback, is making those two items clear.
Yep, great feedback. I agree, Eric, and thank you very much. Perry, do you have thoughts about Eric's thoughts there or Vlad's proposal?
Well, I didn't quite get all the details of Vlad's proposal, so I'm gonna research into that. I'm gonna read into that, try to understand more of what he was saying. I think the general idea that I got was that he's excited about all the things that he's building into that reflect the process here, and that's great. That's fantastic. What I see as the number one priority, and could possibly be adopted by this group, and I think it would be a perfect match, but the number one priority for not only the EOS community, the Eden on EOS community, the whole thing is to get a handle and decentralize the ownership and control of all the Telegram accounts, all the social media accounts, our entire ecosystem. And this goes for all of crypto, but I could say with direct firsthand experience, everything that we're doing in this group, in the Eden group, in all of the communities are directly affected by the admins and the and the owners of those communities. So we can say that we want to do this or that, and that we're doing it on our own free will. But the truth is, controls of those accounts which censor people are the real chief delegates. So I don't know what we would call above a chief delegate, an ultra chief delegate, the kings, the guys that control those accounts are the ones that are actually in control. And in the case of EOS, the main EOS channel, it's people that don't even participate. And they work for companies that the supposed leader of our group, the ENF, is supposed to be suing.
Perry, I really appreciate your thoughts, but I think this might also be more pertinent specifically to the mission of Eden Fractal as opposed to the entire EOS ecosystem.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'll get to it right now. This group has all the tools, has all the capacity to actually begin down that road of solving that problem. And it would be one of the greatest contributions to not only the EOS community, not only this fractal community, but for crypto in general. And if you believe crypto is the key to freeing humanity, well, it's even bigger than that. So that's from my heart, guys. That's what I believe we should be doing, is focusing on those. And if we're not doing that, we're all fooling ourselves as to who's actually in charge of this group, of the Eden group, of the whole thing. That's what I had to say.
Thank you, Perry. I appreciate hearing your thoughts very much. Pascal said, let's focus on Eden Fractal, which I think is a good idea too. So I do think that focusing on EOS as a whole is very helpful at times, but I think Vlad's proposal was more specifically Eden Fractal. And just to be clear, the Eden Fractal groups right now, so currently Felix owns the Eden Discord, and I am the owner of the Eden Telegram group. Felix hasn't been too active, so there's not any, I don't think, censorship going on in these groups. But anyway, Tadas also said,
no, I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm saying that this fractal group has the ability to create the solution. It has the ability to create the solution. So that's it. So at the highest priority.
Yep. Okay, cool. So thank you, Perry. I suppose there's several other people who have their hands raised, Marco and Pascal. I saw Tadas had his hands raised too. And yeah, Tadas is saying, Perry saying that this might be part of the Fractal's mission. I agree. And Tadas also said, if channel censor, people can create new communication channels. But yeah, anyway, thanks, Perry. And I suppose it's now a good time to move on. Of course, Vlad, as you made this proposal, I'd be interested if you have any feedback about this as well. But Marco, it's on you now. What do you think about the mission of Eden Fractal?
Exactly what Eric said. I'm going to add the points we bring in. What are byproducts of some of the stuff we're doing? So we could drop that down. And any byproducts we can put into a 6-sentence abstract. So we have the mission, the vision, the how-to, and this is a lot involved in here. So I put something else as a way to say all of the above, but to start again with those ideas, to make it more concise, orderly, exactly what I would say. I've done a bunch of those myself. And the byproducts, I think, is something that we could discuss. Some of the things that are listed there that inevitably flow from what we make the mission statement. Pass it over to Pascal. Or...
Yep, sounds good. Thanks, Marco. Pascal?
Yeah, thanks, Dan. I just have a look on the proposal. And then one of the things that I noticed is we got 21% of people voted that they want the mission to be something else. So it piqued my mind. I was expecting us to have like one of the missions to be to really support the fractal governance as because the way Eden Fractal was born, it was born from fractally. So that's how this game come true. And then that's how this group have been pushing the activities to bring to the Eden 1, another way of doing, another way of rewarding participants, of rewarding contributors. So yes, there's Eden 1, which is working very well, doing election every 3 months. And then it's another process. Now we have Eden Fractal, which is also a fractal governance model, but we need to serve this group, And then the way we started, it was like, okay, we have to do some work for this group, for the Eden Fractal, and reward what's a token, Eden anything. So in this proposal that Vlad has published, so the 21% that I saw that people want also add another mission, So I will maybe suggest or propose that we have a mission to continue building the fractal governance as it started, So what have you done this week for this Eden Fractal? And then from there, we will move. Another point that I want also to mention is we can go, like we have this, the Eden as a whole is a community of 400+ members, founder members in the Eden in general. I agree with the mission of making the Eden community grows, but we need to find a way to come up with a product or a service that people will be using weekly, daily, and then monthly. And then I got this week, we had as an the Eden community, for those who have tried it before, we have this social networks called Violet social networks. It was built, and then you could only log into this network if you were an Eden member. You log in there each day, and then you get 10 VO, which is a token. And that same Paul, who started up the social networks, he went and joined the fractals, the dancing fractally. So this social network is still working. It's still working as a social network. I tried it yesterday and it still works. So my suggestion would be to see how, as a community, we can have this social network as our social network that we can be using every day, every week, but only Eden members can log in there because it's already built. So we have a product that we can use, and that can help us get new members to our community, and then let's grow with it. So about the mission, I'm in, but let's make sure that we add in our mission to really build the fractal governance as we started. What have you done to Eden Fractal this week? And then we reward you based on that. Thanks.
Thank you, Pascal. Great points. And I very much agree that having the mission promoting fractal governance is really important. And also, this is a really big question too, because it also, as you mentioned, it helps guide us about how we make decisions in the breakout rooms. I have some more thoughts that I'll share in a bit, but first, Vlad has his hands up. So, Vlad, what do you think?
Yeah, many good thoughts. Well, I voted also all of the above, and I heard more thoughts of what the mission could be, but I think we need to be a little pragmatic, and from all the different ways that we can go, pick something that there is demand for. So what's the quick win? What could we do right now to be beneficial for the EOS or for Eden? Or what's the quick win? Where is the demand right now? And I think the more specific we are with the mission, the more productive we will be. So then we will sort of all focus on one thing, and that way we get it done. And yeah, we can, I guess eventually there should be a proposal that would concretely state what the mission is. We can do another topic for what is the mission, and then transition to the proposal for what the mission should be. Or yeah. I think we need to think about that.
Yeah, great points. Thanks, Vlad. And thanks, everybody. This has been a really interesting discussion. I see Patrick just raised his hand, so I'll pass it on to Patrick in a moment, but I just want to respond to a couple of those points rather quickly. First off, Elias asked in the chat, does Eden have official purpose written out?
That's exactly what I want to answer. Yes, Eden has an Eden statement I put here. That's the official one. And there are many other mission statements. There is not only one mission statement for Eden, because Eden is a sandboxing. That's the CDs that arrive to this conclusion. That's many people that arrive to this conclusion that Eden is doing sandboxing. And that's the DAOs that will define the why. Each DAO around Eden will define his why. Eden Fractal, here, we are a circle. So we have to grow our values into this circle to arrive to our missions, not only one mission. I have voted on the poll now. I have voted for all the above because all are good missions. There is not only one mission. And by the way, when I was interrupted before, stating that I was off topic, that was to say that I will totally going on next year, beginning of the year with the platform model ecosystem, that's to help us, and Vlad included here, to define our why, our substance here. What is our missions? We have different missions because we have different skill set. So I don't want to be focused just on one mission, but if I have to retain one global mission, that could be this one, to help communities of verified humans, wherever they are in the world, build their own version of Eden Fractal, okay? Whatever that may be, together, powered by EOS with an internested fractal paradigm through collaborative circle that was approved by the CDs. The last part of the sentence, with an internested fractal paradigm through collaborative circle, that's from me. And that was approved to put that into the statement because that fits very well. So now you can approve, disapprove, but I think we have to be the most collaborative, the most, to have the best experience possible, as you say, Dan, every time that you want to have the best experience. So if we want to have the best experience possible, we have to collaborate and we have to inject the most value into our circle to be the most loosely coupled, like Perry said many times, and then we can connect with others at the best experience possible. That's what I want to see into Eden Fractal. That's what I will fighting for, like a good lion, not a aggressive lion, okay? So that's what I want. I am totally aligned with you. That's not off topic. Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you, Patrick. And I'm totally aligned with that too. And I appreciate you sharing it. I want to just make a general comment too. I'm sorry. I feel like I did interrupt Patrick and Perry a little before too. So, and this is the first week that I've been officially appointed as a moderator, and I've received some feedback in the past that people would appreciate more sticking on topic. And I saw a couple people comment in the chat. So I'm sorry if I do interrupt anybody too quick. I'm very open to feedback and I want to give everybody the best experience possible. And I'm also just trying to help guide the conversation according to Vlad's proposal. But thanks, Patrick. I agree that those are on topic and I appreciate you sharing. And then, yeah, I see Sebastian has hands up too. So I'm very curious to hear from Sebastian. I suppose maybe I'll just, I had a couple of thoughts inspired by that, but I'll pass on to Sebastian first and then I'll go after that.
Okay. So I think when we are talking about the purpose of Eden, or the mission statements, or that there are many mission statements, there is like, why do we even need mission statements? In my opinion, is like, if we are an organization, right? So we are representing something outward, and I think Dan made a really good start with his book because many principles were included. So if we as an organization, let it be Eden on EOS or let it be the Eden Fractal, can have shared principles, not shared values, like only principles, like, you know, basic rules of engagement and that we all agreed prior to joining. I think that's the only mission statement we need, so that the organization we are a part of is, it will change over time. You know, every season, every time bylaws get new bylaws get made, new people get to the top. Every time this will change, but there needs to be some consistency, you know, I think. And this consistency is nothing that we have control over. So I think it just depends on on focusing on the process, like really taking the process extremely serious. And that was the only issue I also had with what the chief delegates did with the that they raised their own funding, because that's not, I think that showed a lack of principles to me in that moment with the information that was available to me at that time. And I'm still not sure what to think about it, but I think if people are looking at this who are not part of Eden, that's like what we are to them. And so we don't need a mission statement for us. We need a mission statement to convey, to show people that this process is something that works, that can be well-intentioned people can use to build great stuff and to come together, to make connections and so on. So that's just my thinking about it, because I think we are always like, we don't have a mission statement, we don't have a purpose. Since Dan left, since the peace treaty is not that relevant anymore, and so on. I don't think those will be endless discussions if we don't just basically respect each other on the basis of some principles, like in Dan's book or something else. But those principles have to be stated, and if they are not stated, they are not existent, and we don't have a mission statement to present. So that's just my, my thoughts that I wanted to share.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Sebastian. Really interesting thoughts, and I agree. I agree with a lot. There's so much to say. I'm really, once again, grateful for Vlad for kicking off the discussion, because I do think that even if, like, maybe we don't need a mission statement, like Vlad also made a compelling case about why a mission statement can be very helpful, so we can focus on one thing and focus on the most helpful thing that we can, like, provide the most value at the time. Also, Patrick responded to Elias before about a mission statement, although there's also several different mission statements from Eden Chief Delegates in the past too about creating value for EOS and so forth. And also EOS doesn't really have a defined mission statement. So whenever you have a big community, it's difficult to have a mission statement, although now we have a consensus process that can help with that. And there are people at the meetings who are asking, like, what are we voting for people for? What are we ranking about? So it would be helpful to have a more succinct answer for that. Although I also agree, like, we don't want to make it, well, I don't think we want to make it too succinct and constraining. We want to have it flexible where lots of people can interpret it in their own way to create value in their own way, but still be aligned in general. I've mentioned this article many times. I think it's a really helpful article, but I'll share the link here, and it's quite relevant for this topic. Also, I see Marco and Perry and Patrick have their hands up too, so I'll pass it on in a moment, but I just wanted to share these thoughts for a while now. So yeah, James Mart shared this article. He called it On Mutually Benefiting from Misaligned Goals. I encourage everybody to read it because it's really relevant to what we're discussing here. And James Mart, he's a great thinker who's very much, who's thought a lot about fractal cooperation, fractal governance. And what he talks about basically is how the contributions of others towards their personal missions can and should, to an extent, be considered valuable contributions to one's own goal. It's a detailed article that explains it well, but basically he talks about how, like, the purpose can emerge and the mission can emerge. And I think one takeaway from it is if we keep a general mission statement, like I suggested, helping communities cooperate and collaborate with EOS, like that's quite general, and people can interpret it in many different ways. I see Patrick is shaking his hand too, so I'm interested to hear from Patrick when it's his turn. But I'll leave it at that for now. But I encourage everybody to read that article, and I think this is a really valuable discussion to have. I'd also be curious too about our next steps. If I know Vlad has hands up at some point, if we want to like what our goal is here. Are we aiming to pass a proposal with the mission statement, or are we aiming to just discuss it for right now? I mean, I know it's a theme for discussion, so we're not aiming to pass it now, but maybe in the future weeks we should. But that's something I'd be interested to hear. There was also 2 other proposals for topics that we could get into, but I think that this topic is enough for us to discuss for this whole time. So now I'll pass it on to Marco. And also, okay, yeah, go ahead, Marco.
Orientation or focus. Mission statement can provide both, and within it, wording such as flexible approach could be enough that the mission statement is open for submission to it. But orientation is important, especially looking back on things. Look how far we've gone, and now we don't have the resources to do what we thought out. And if that misaligns with the mission statement, well, there you go. If you don't have the mission statement, it's kind of like a whirlwind spiral down. So orientation, I think Eric would agree on that. I think Vlad wants a more focused one. I'm open to listening to both, but I believe we need really an orientation. The focus, we could kind of divvy off into subgroups, I guess, or whatever. And since we have multiple meetings, that kind of works. Lastly, the idea of also having a vision and an abstract that goes into a little bit more detail might help things where we're committing to the mission statement and we're committing to it to come back to center. What we're trying to do, not get too far off as we do in meetings here all the time. A vision and a abstract allows us to, for people who are focused on that mission, to really leverage more of what we're doing. Say orientation, if that's not clear, that's like coming back to center and not forgetting what we're set out to do.
Yeah, great points, Marco. Thank you. In addition to the mission statement, which I suppose could be summarized in a line, we can also have the orientation and the abstract for more details, and also to help set the direction.
No, the mission statement is for orientation. It could be for orientation, for focus, depending on how we word it. So you look at the mission statement as what am I doing? Is what I'm doing now orients with this? Or am I too far off? The mission statement allows that for us. We came together in a group. We put together this one sentence. Is what am I doing going to be in line with that, or is it going to straighten that? That's orientation. Focus is what am I doing? Is that supporting that uplifting? Is it directed? Is it a sniper shot? Orientation is if I shout, will I still be able to hit that mission statement? I'm not proposing anything different. I'm just saying how we write it. I would side less focused, more oriented. Like you sit in a chair, you orient yourself straight up, posture better, rather than a direct focus on moving something. So.
Yep. Excellent points. Thank you for further elaborating, Marco. I also want to just say Pascal shared a message in chat. The Eden 1 mission is very clear from the first election: maximize independence, fractal democracy, and build consensus. So it's a great mission as well. Thank you for sharing that, Pascal. Perry and Patrick had their hands up first. Vlad also had his hands up too. So I suppose in the future it might be worthy of discussing. Like, I feel like it'd be helpful if Vlad wants to respond to any of that, since he made the proposal first. If Vlad wants to go quick first, or if we wanted to go with the hand raising order, and then in that case, Perry would be next.
No, I'm happy to let Vlad go. I think it's when you make a proposal, you want to respond to it. So no problem. Go ahead, Vlad.
That wasn't specifically a response to anyone, so let's go with the hand order.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Vlad. And it's up to you, Perry.
Okay, so I just wanted to bring the point that this is much like just building a business. And in building a business, you have a full range of choices of what your mission is going to be, what the whole point of the company is, and you could make it extremely general, or you could make it very specific. And I think when you're a new organization, it lends itself to being very specific and very compelling and addressing very specific pain points. And that's one reason why I like the idea that I just introduced, because it does all of those things. We could make a kind of a general mission statement and kind of a catch-all, and we can do everything, and then we can keep talking back to each other and making rules about nothing. That's essentially what would happen. or we can decide and focus on something very specific that we believe is valuable to other people. And that way, we communicate to the world the beauty of this process. So by being very specific, we actually grow the process and the organization in a very general sense. So that's the point that I want to make. Thank you.
Yeah, and to complement on that, I want to say, until that we find our missions, our visions and values, we can agree on something global. What we want to do here indeed since a while, sorry if I speak, that's my opinion, and I think maybe that the opinion of others here. We are turning the data and the information into knowledge. That's basically what we are doing here. We are establishing like, let's say, a platform model ecosystem. We want to help other platforms. We can be the facilitator for that, for Eden on EOS and for other circles around EOS in collaboration. And we have the tools, like Perry said, we have a lot of tools on the table. One of those tools is the Eden Fractal Brainstorming Sessions. That's helped us after 3 episodes to vote on the 3 proposals of last week, the moderators by Tadas. Thank you for that. So the brainstorming session helps to find together the best missions, the best values, and the best vision. And it's temporal, because you can have a mission for a period of time, then you have another mission. So it's difficult to say the mission of Eden Fractal is that, and it is frozen into the stone forever. That's not dynamic. So that's good that it's evolved with the time. I love the initiative of Vlad with the poll on Consortium. I think Consortium is the tool for the on-chain testifying of intent. We have to use Consortium a lot. Eden is also considering now a lot to use Consortium. That's nice. So we see that we have the tools here. We have made the tools here. So our goal here, if we are into Eden Fractal, is to help other ecosystem also to evolve, but we have to evolve for us also. So we have to create value in our circle. So I repeat always the same narrative, but I think it's essential what we are doing here, the why we are coming here on the Wednesday, or why we are going into the Eden Fractal brainstorming session on the Tuesday every 2 weeks. That's not an hazard. And I will continue to do that with Dancing Joyo next year. There will be Vlad, there will be Tadas. I encourage other people like Lenny and others to join, because that's the, and Pascal and Perry, because that's the, and Jorge Ramos and everyone, Eric also. That's there that we are brainstorming, because we are better together. And we respect the parole, the time sharing of people to speak, and we are committing with the time, by the way. A lot of respect for those fractal brainstorming session. I do that with Dan since the 15th November. We have finished on the 13th December. That was a success, and we continue next year. So that's the tool. We have the tool here to brainstorm and to find our values, our mission, our vision, how you want to call it. Forget about all that sometimes, because you think too much with the brain, because the brain is stupid. Think also with your heart, and we will do fantastic things. And like said Perry, we have to iterate in a short time. We cannot speak during 3 months about our vision, mission, without to experiment. So we have to experiment also, fail better, and adjust the cursor. Okay, that's what I want to say here. Sorry.
Thank you, Patrick. Sebastian's giving a thumbs up here. That's his hands raised. I'll just briefly respond. Once again, thanks, Patrick, for organizing those brainstorming sessions. They've been super helpful, and I agree that this can be very helpful, these brainstorming sessions, to help us align around a mission, and I'm looking forward to continuing to co-host with you in the future and next year and discussing the PME. I also found a nice quote from the James Mart article that I'll share after Tadas goes. By the way, we have about 10 minutes left for kind of the formal discussion according to the proposal that Tadas made last week for the hour after the breakout rooms. So for the next 10 minutes, we'll be discussing the mission of the Eden Fractal, unless we have some other topic that the council prefers to move on to, or you guys think I should move on to. But Tadas, I'll pass on to Tadas, and then I have some thoughts after that. I'm very curious to hear Tadas's thoughts. Tadas, what do you think?
Yeah, thanks. I think it's fine to stay on this topic. Yeah, so it seems that we have two directions here. We could try to make our mission statement very specific, or we could try to keep it very general. I think right now we haven't explicitly stated our mission statement yet, but I think currently we understand, as this poll shows, most of us understand it as quite general, which includes contributions to EOS, as well as building tools for fractal collaboration and so on. And Vlad seems to suggest to make it more specific, and I see advantages of that he mentions, but I think we have to be mindful of something. One question I would have is, how would it affect, and would it affect attendance? See, if we have a very general mission statement, when anyone who has an EOS related project can come and he's contributing on topic. But if we make the mission very specific, and if you have people who are working on EOS but don't have time for additional work to work on the mission that we chose, then I don't know, maybe we could lose some people who would attend. So yeah, I guess I'm saying that by choosing a wider, more general mission statement, we are open to more people, I guess, to more contributors, and maybe that's better, but I don't know. Thanks.
Thank you, Tadas. I agree, and that's one of the reasons why I'm more in favor of general mission statement. But I also appreciate Perry's and Vlad's points about more specific. Vlad, do you want to share your thoughts or response to that before me and Erica?
Yeah, I think those were good, very good points. First, just the categorization, whether we want to have it specific or general, and how on that will depend how many participants we will have. And that led me to a thought that if we just, for us, in short term, I see a way how we could grow is by just valuing a lot in the breakout rooms. What have you done for EOS? Because there are a lot of people just working on EOS. And if we just, that would be the focus on the collaboration and networking aspect of the EOS. So that might be a good way. That might be a good way. If we make it just fractal democracy, okay, let's focus on fractal democracy. The amount of people will be much smaller. Tadas is right. And if we expand it to just somehow EOS, then that would be, yeah, good, I think, short term.
Yeah, these are great points. So I'll pass on to Eric in a moment, but I just want to share a couple of those quotes that are related here. So, I mean, I do also really agree with what Pascal was saying, though. Pascal was emphasizing the fractal nature of it too, and we are like the biggest operating fractal and with a really super helpful tool too. So I value that a lot as well, but I also value just general contributions to EOS. I think it's helpful to grow. I'll share some quotes from James in the chat. Also, I see Tadas raise his hand too, so I don't know if Tadas wants to jump in response to Vlad, but I'll just share these quotes pretty quickly because I think that they're really relevant. In that article, mutually benefiting from misaligned goals, James wrote, consensus on the mission in a fractal emerges from repeated rounds of reaching consensus on various contributions made in service of individual interests that ostensibly align with a shared goal. Just as individual consensus round is an imperfect measurement of the value of each contribution, so too the total set of all measurements cannot be considered to converge on an accurate measurement of single metric. Rather, many measurements establish an approximation correlate with the average opinion of the community, even as goals and memberships change over time. So that's kind of long, but I think that the first sentence, consensus on the mission in a fractal emerges from repeated rounds of reaching consensus in various contributions made in service of individual interests. And then he also says, ultimately, regardless of the mission statement, the mission accomplished by a community is the collective result of of individuals pursuing their own missions. So individuals are always changing. We kind of vote in the rooms on this. I see a thumbs up from Tadas and Patrick. So yeah, thank you. And I'll share those in the chat if people want to read in deeper. I encourage it. Tadas, I don't know if you want to go first. I'm sorry, Eric, I know you had your hands raised, but I know Tadas just had a response maybe to Vlad there, if you want to jump in. Sorry if I went before you as well. But
it's not a response, just another thought. Eric can go next.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. All right. The floor is yours, Eric.
So when I teach mission and vision statements in my business classes and marketing classes, what we do is sometimes we even get another person, but we imagine a new person sitting there and we give them the mission or vision statement. Either we really do it or imagine it and say, does that person know what to do? So if your mission is we empower business owners, we go, okay, bring somebody in and say, oh, you now work for us. We empower vision owners. Do you know what to do? So how specific is it? Does it give them enough guidance that they would actually have a fairly clear idea what they could do, but not so specific that it tries to tell them exactly what to do? So that's the model we use for specificity, is if you brought a new person in there, gave it to them, would they be able to do something, at least along the right path?
Beautiful. That's the collective results of repetitive brainstorming session that led us to come to the mission and the vision and the values. And you need some other people destroying your thought and to reconstruct and come to something beautiful. So that's what we do into the brainstorming session. So definitely, Vlad, what you stated just before, when you stated into the breakout room, that we have to use maybe the breakout room more to see the values that the people want to give for EOS. That's the place, the breakout room, to extract the values of the contribution of everyone and to put that into collective memory somewhere. Let's say the PME mind map, the platform model ecosystem. Don't take wrong, huh? Platform model ecosystem doesn't mean to become the new dictator. Huh? Platform model ecosystem doesn't mean to be better than other one. Platform model ecosystem is something very powerful. You can go on Google and search what does it mean, PME, platform model ecosystem. That's exactly what you are doing when you are trying to create a new viable ecosystem. And Eden Fractal, we are a very viable ecosystem without that we know that we are one. We are doing fantastic things here. So we are just to structure that in a good manner, thinking on our own and not follow. I don't say we cannot take some ingredients of Eden on EOS. I don't say that we cannot take some ingredients of fractally, but we have to think for our own. Otherwise, the risk is we are doing the dream of someone else. Here we want to create our dream, how we want to collaborate. And I think Vlad with Consortium and Tadas with Albedo is a working search, and all that together, there is a meaning. This is not off topic. This is totally aligned. So we have to work together. And into Eden Fractal, we can have many circles. We can have a circle about technology. We can have a circle about marketing. We can create circle into Eden Fractal. That's not prohibited, by the way. We can create something very innovative here. So I encourage you to think about also to have some circles into our own Eden Fractal. That's very powerful. And we are in the right path. So my suggestion for the next time is just to continue to brainstorm on our mission, and why not to become a little bit more specific. That's depend also of the people that we have into this group. For the moment, we are very little, so maybe we can arrive to a common mission or common vision for the moment. That's not prohibited to change of mind later on. So let's iterate and let's begin something. Okay, I speak too much already. I see Dan, the moderator here, will cut me. So I stop here and I let you go. Tadas!
Okay, well, hold on a second. So Patrick, so quick, really great points, and I agree. But yeah, also please do remember to respect the hand raising. According to the rules we passed, then maybe I should have jumped in because Marco and Tadas have had their hands up for a while. But yeah, I appreciate the thoughts, and also it's been an hour, so that kind of formally concludes the hour after the breakout room process. But I'm very curious to hear from Marco and Tadas, and I'm also happy to hear from anybody else as well. So Marco, what do you think about the discussion and mission at this time?
Well, in regards to Patrick jumping in, I played fullback, so without a neck roll, so I can do that all day long. Now, as far as what Vlad said about EOS, it was amazing. As he was saying, I was thinking, we haven't thought about that in a while, and I like it a lot. But I would add to it. Let's focus on EOS contributions, or allow EOS contributions, with the caveat that Eden Fractal is promoted along the way. So in the mission statement or in the vision or wherever we put it, allowing the EOS contributions, when people come here, they realize that they're also uplifting Eden. It's not, we're not hiding it. We're building it in a way that by people contributing here, kind of like Pomelo, they're also building it up. So if we incentivize that, if we use that through tokens, whatever we do, anybody bring in any EOS stuff here, we welcome it, but at the same time, it uplifts Eden. The other thing I'll say is, I mentioned circles a long time ago back in Eden on EOS, and that was because of discussions on some governance. We do things differently here. A circle is meant, I think it's too slow. And this is where I would bring in the focus that I believe Tadas and I know Vlad said. So we could, I'll just do the military analogy and special op groups instead of circles, where they're more focused, less reliant on governance, and they have a, let's not call it a mission statement, but an objective statement where they're going to come back with some year, something for some food back from the community, rather than a broad mission statement. Again, I'm still for the broad mission statement, and there was something I was going to add to Eric. If you have a mission statement, imagine giving it to someone who's never been part of your organization and tell them, write me a vision off this mission statement. So you have the mission statement, the how to, what is your vision after reading this mission that permeates your heart? What do you see now? What is the artwork running through your mind? What kind of art or picture do you have painted from this mission that you just read? What's in your sights now? And when you write that vision, that maybe instead of one sentence, 2 or 3, the people in the organization, do they reside within it at all? And if so, then there's some success. And I'm going to throw last in there some of the byproducts, because some of these things that we talk about will be a natural byproduct. We expected EOS contribution to be a byproduct needed, they haven't been. So we can reserve that for the abstract or somewhere lower on the ring where we're getting things done, but we're not expressly stating them, and they're kind of almost a logical conclusion based on what we decide on the mission. And again, I'm for a general mission.
Thank you, Marco. Great insights. Tadas, what do you think?
Thanks. I was thinking about this trade-off between having a very general mission statement, which allows more people attending, and being more specific. And I thought that maybe we could have both. First of all, we have a very general mission statement. But if you have a group of people who want to be more focused on Eden Fractal, then they could arrive at consensus to choose on very specific objective, and we could choose to work on that specific objective, which contributes to a larger mission, of course. And yeah, I guess this relates to Patrick's circles. You basically have a circle within Eden Fractal which is focused on more specific objective. Yeah, so maybe this could be the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
I raise my hand. I agree, Tadas. That when you want to be more specific, you need circles into this Eden Fractal to speak on a specific topic. A circle define a why. So I raise my, I go down with my hand. By the way, I have a problem with my wrist. So thank you.
Just by the way, Patrick, I appreciate you raising your hand, but also when you raise your hand, try to take note of who else has their hand up too. Like in that situation, it might have been nice if you asked Eric if he wanted to go first because he had his hand up first. But yeah, thank you for the thoughts. And Tadas, I agree. That's also something that I was reminded of, or it came to mind when Perry was speaking about a more specific mission too. So I think that's very interesting to explore. And with that, it's up to Eric now.
So real quickly, there's always this big confusion of what is a vision and what is a mission. You know, one way to look at it is a vision is the destination. Here's where we want to end up. And a mission some people may think of as here's what we need to do, or here's what we're doing to get there. But however you do it, it's a good idea to separate what we mean by mission and vision, because they're not the same thing.
Exactly.
Great point. Yep, absolutely. It seems like Perry's having a grand time over here, cracking up. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, we've been going. Also, Jorge said before, see you around. Thank you for the much structured meeting today. So thank you, Jorge, for sharing the comment, and also all your thoughts. It's great to see you. And yeah, I hope that this has been a helpful meeting for everybody so far.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
I think it's been a fascinating discussion. So once again, thanks Vlad for making this proposal, and thanks everybody for sharing their thoughts. And if anybody has any feedback about how to better conduct these meetings or how I can help moderate better in the future, then once again, I'm happy to hear it. Does anybody else have any more thoughts about? I see Patrick has his hands up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I have raised my physical hand. Okay. So I want to say here, thank you, Dan, for the good moderation. That's a yeah, baby. And I am very happy with your style of moderation. That's fine. Tadas and Vlad, as always, are just beautiful. Eric let us to think more. And Lenny is stoic, as always, as I love. And Pascal was fantastic. And Sebastian was a really, really Eden guest today, but very happy. And by the way, very happy for the next year. Voilà. And Dan, I love you.
Love you too, Patrick. Thank you for the kind words. And I agree. Thank you, Sebastian, for the great thoughts. Lenny and Pascal and Perry. It's great to see everybody here and really engaging with the mission and also the vision and abstracting all these things. So yeah, really appreciate it. And we're ending the year in a very exciting way. We'll have one more meeting on next Wednesday at 15:30 ETC before the end of the year. So I'm excited for that one too. Maybe we'll wear funny hats again or something. But
I am not able to attend, but I will be with you, my heart, my soul, my mind.
Okay.
Oh, that
Yeah,
was a nice one today. That was
but
a nice one.
I'm glad it was a nice one. But Pascal also mentioned last week the potential of taking a week off for holidays. I'm happy to keep going, and I think we could discuss a lot. But if people want to take a week off, then that's also something we could discuss. Although I suppose that proposal should have been made in advance. So I think that unless there's wide consensus about taking off, then we'll be returning for our regularly scheduled meeting next Wednesday, the 28th at 15:30 ETC. Merry Christmas to all, Pascal says. Yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Looking forward to seeing you when you're back, Pascal, and hope you enjoy it. Vlad, great meeting. Thank you. Thank you once again for the proposal. Should we wrap up the recording, or is there anything else we want to say, or any last thoughts, or any questions or comments before we end it?
We have to finish on something always fun here.
I like the sound of that. Let's do it. How should we do it? Oh, what's that? Is that Sebastian?
I would say
You would say
Eden is a perfect example of how to avoid a destiny.
Hallelujah.
You said how to avoid what? Destiny?
A destiny, right? Like
Fate?
Fate.
You mean
so to
fate?
say.
Welcome into my garden.
I'm confused, Sebastian. How? I mean, destiny isn't destiny like kind of unavoidable? It's just what happens. You're saying Eden is a great way to avoid destiny?
No, it's a way to interact with
Fate.
the concept of the word destiny.
Beautiful.
And thought-provoking. I'm not totally sure what that means.
I think I don't raise my hand, but I think what it means is that this is destined to actually make sure that we don't do what the real world do, going to heck, you know. I have that feeling.
Oh yeah,
that makes sense.
It soon makes sense. Yeah. Sebastian, you approve?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. So
all right.
With that said, let's do this.
Shall we? Hold on one second. Something else you want to share here, Sebastian?
Nothing I want to share.
Okay.
Okay, nice.
I feel this group is moving in the right direction.
Absolutely. Yeah, baby.
I agree.
Okay. Now, if you are hearing this, that's the time to wrap up. And let me remind you why we are here. Because we know what we do. We love what we do, and also we know why. So if we are like us, join us. You will be never deceived because we are iterating here. I will make sure that we stay always lions and not sheeps. We are the Eden Fractal lions, okay? We take in charge our destiny. Our mission is to be fucking committed we will be fucking committed to what we say. We do never promise something that we cannot afford. Okay, so with that said, with all my heart, my soul, and my mind, I wish you all the best for next year. Happy holidays. Take care of you, of your cat, of your dog, of your wife. If you have no wife, take care of yourself, okay? So now I will do a countdown. And for that, you have to raise your hand and appear on the camera. So Vlad and Tadas, please appear on the camera and raise your hand.
Well, I don't know if they're busy, but okay, good.
Tadas is
back.
They are not busy. No, they are just lazy. That's not the same. So Tadas is
they
here.
work hard
Vlad
too,
is
so.
here. Eric is here. That's fantastic. Perry is here. Oh, that's beautiful. And Lenny is with us like a statue. That's beautiful. So let's do the countdown and raise your hand.
All right, Lenny's hand is raised, and let's do it. Also, I'll second that. Take care and happy holidays too. And what are we gonna do? 3, 2, 1, go EOS, go Eden Fractal.
Raise your hand.
I only pledge allegiance.
Okay.
I only pledge allegiance to the United States. I'm a U.S. citizen. I only pledge allegiance.
That's my mini installing.
And then,
Patrick,
we
have to finish.
I'll finish it off.
Okay. Woohoo! Okay. Let's do this. Here, baby. So, 3, 2, 1, 0. We say in chorus with all our heart, soul, and mind, and very convinced that that's Vlad, everyone. We will say, go, Eden Fractal. So now, let's go.
Let's go.
3, 2,
1,
0.
Go, Eden
Fractal! Ho, ho, ho!
All right.
You understand?
I think we understand.
Oh, wonderful.
Thanks everybody so much.
I love
EOS.
That
Sasha loves
EOS
it. Good to hear.
That's the everyone open society. That's for that there is no mission. That's the everyone open society. That belongs to every of us. We are the shareholder, the stakeholder of EOS, okay? And that belongs to us to create our dreams. So now at 3, 2, 1, 0, we'll say, go EOS, okay?
Okay, cool. And let's wrap it up after that one.
But the best one, huh? At 3, 2, 1, 0,
Yes.
raise your hand.
Okay, ready for the best one.
Raise your hand.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And 3, 2, 1, you got that? 3, 2, 1. Patrick, you want to lead us for 3?
Oh,
2.
Pat Novajoy.
Okay,
Oh,
Pat
Pat Novajoy
Novajoy
is here. Okay, Pat Novajoy is with us. Okay, so I am Pat Novajoy. 3, 2, 1, 0, and go! EOS! All right, thank you everybody so much. Hope everybody has a happy holidays, Merry Christmas. You have the mission.
Take care.
Okay, take care. Bye.
All right, thanks everybody so much for the great meeting. It's been fun.